And I think I'm live. So you guys, sorry for the delay. Couple things. New space, cloudy day. I just realized I have no secondary lighting. When I turn on my overhead lights, it makes me look like I'm in the examination room. So we're not going to do that today. And my desktop fill lights are not unpacked yet. So we're going to have to do the mysterious shadowy me. Also, good news is I self-confirmed my audio. Just let me know the audio is working. And we're going to have a fun day today, regardless, because I am intent on showing you some things that have come up from this week. We've had a lot of folks, including a few live clients, who are making life difficult for themselves by not understanding how easy it can be, as I will show you, to use the tools inside of LaunchKit to get user registration and login very easily done. Let's fill that bad boy up. No, we just leave it as is. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into it. The basis for today is that when you have folks that are coming in, and by the way, can I get a validation? Let's say, hello, how is the sound and audio and visual? I see a few guys have already come on in, Ann and a few others. If you could just let me know that everything sounds and looks good, I can proceed safely here in my dark writer's garret. Okay. I'm going to assume if I don't hear otherwise that it's good, and I do hear it here. All right. So the basic premise is this. You have three statuses. Thank you, Ann. I appreciate it. You have three statuses which are available to somebody that you have a relationship you're starting with. The first one is the I just met you, you're a stranger, but I'd like to know you more. That is where we're going to only need the person added to the CRM. In this case, let's assume you're using Fluent CRM, but it could very well be that you're still using some connected CRM, maybe ActiveCampaign or something else. Either way, the notion is that you don't know enough about the relationship to register and log them in as a user, even though it costs you nothing. It'd be just sort of like handing out keys to the country club or your house to people you met on the street. It's not like you really believe yet that they're going to come and visit or enjoy it. Second relationship is a warm prospect. And that's somebody who has passed the threshold of, hey, how are you? It's nice to meet you. I've got something in common with you. I would like to start a relationship. And the reason that we want to register and log them in as a user, especially when we're using Fluent CRM and WP Fusion under the LaunchKit, is that I wish my screen was brighter. We have these things here. These are tags, and these allow us to track the user's journey, to find out more about them through the means of custom fields. And in doing so, we can use the tags and custom fields to customize the journey. For example, Spence is from Chicago. He likes chocolate. Yellow is his favorite color. Those are things that if we ask Spence to tell us, we can then use those in the form of tags to make the website look yellow, give him access to the chocolate page, not give access to the New York page, but the Chicago page. So the tags are used for both collecting information about the person, but also for adjusting the access to various things they get and making them feel that you know them better by customizing their journey. And that's how we use marketing automation in a very smart way, unlike the don't tell Siri and Alexa I'm talking about them. We do it in a way that doesn't make people feel creepy, like when you go to Facebook and you talk about something you would never talk about, and then suddenly all of your web browsers and your phone and everything are filled with ads for that stuff. So you don't want to go into that weird space. The third customer relationship that you will use all of this for is that once somebody's registered and logged in and we can track their journey, now we can customize the things that they buy in a logical order. We can give them a value ladder that leads from a free lead magnet to a tripwire to a first-time product to an upsell to a post-checkout, blankety, blankety, blank, all the way up and down your value ladder, because we know exactly what it is that they bought. We know what's in their cart. And as a result, we can use the marketing automation in a more efficient manner. Now, two things to add to this, and then we're going to go on to the registration part. In the old days, 6 minutes ago, it was a big deal about like, I can't take any more people onto my WordPress site. This is going to cause danger, because many times people were using the old-fashioned methodology, which you absolutely should not do, which is user roles. Never, 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 ever, never, 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 never should you use user roles starting this moment you heard me say it. We made those mistakes early on, and as a result, we created more problems for ourselves because when you change the capabilities of somebody with a custom user role, there are unintended consequences for you and the business way down the line when other plugins come along expecting somebody to have a standard role with standard capabilities, but you've jacked it all up with all these special things. And you further created a Frankenstein monster for yourself because it's impossible for any other objective person to come on board your team and give you help when buried underneath all of that mess is some secret little capability that's inside of a custom role. Okay. By giving users standard roles, either a customer or a subscriber, and using tags, not only is everything transparent to a person helping you and at the front end, but you've also synchronized your WordPress behavior to the CRM. So you could control what happens from either end, but still adjusting it inside of the user's journey on the WordPress side of things. And that's extremely powerful because it merges the things that you're able to do with email, along with the other automation clicks from your CRM, to those things that are happening inside of WordPress. It all has to start, finally, with the user registration and login, which we do automatically, either through a free form registration, a free product registration, or a purchase of some kind. Because two reasons. One, everybody and their mother has 5 different devices these days. So cookies no longer work. I mean, if you really think about it and you're being honest with yourself, you have visitors who will see you first on their iPhone, and then maybe they'll do something, but then they'll go back to their desktop or their laptop and, oh, I'm playing with the kids and I grab the kid's tablet. You could have somebody who is trying to interact with your website or your client's website on 2, 3, 4, 5 different devices. Cookies don't travel. They stay on the device. And the second problem is that the things that used to be done, like registering and synchronizing passwords and all the other nonsense, or even a tool that we offer through WP Fusion, which is called, I think it was called Account Login. I have to double check on it. But there was a tool that we used to use that was cookie based that did the same thing. It made a proxy account for somebody. Those are all no longer valid things to use because you see, even if you have clients who live in the GDPR zones, you can manage the legality of somebody being automatically registered and logged in without even knowing there's anything being done to them. And then you can delete their user account immediately. But we don't try to synchronize the passwords. We don't try to use cookies. We don't try to pretend that there's some way to tracking them other than that they're actually registered and logged in. And the beauty of that is that the browsers will take the login information across. The password managers will take the login information across if it's based on the computer of the user or the browser of the user. And that means that you can actually have a situation where somebody gets a free registration and login, and whatever they've done, and it's going to be done automatically, will travel with them. All right, 8 minutes, 25 seconds in. My back is holding up but tingly, so I'm going to be maybe ending a couple minutes early. I have to do some stretching or whatever I do, but I'm going to get you through. Let's do this live. I'm going to switch to big mode. I'm going to beg your indulgence today. I'm going on a no net basis because I had no time to set up a legitimate demo. So I just literally launched the LaunchKit plugin. I also wanted to let everybody know, you've been asking about it. This is, I hope, after all the other moving stuff that I've been doing, this is the weekend I'm going to launch the new version of the LaunchKit V2 officially. You can get it now as the LaunchKit V2 RC1, so many letters, over at the software bundle for free by clicking here, even if you're not logged in. I have a new version I'm working on that does a lot of cool stuff I demonstrated in my last video about Buddy Boss and Buddy Press, but I can see that there's a little bit of tweaking necessary in order to put it into the repository. I have to remove a lot of junk from what I was doing earlier experimenting. So I will really, really, really try to get it done today, tomorrow at the latest, because I want this to be available. But you can always just click and get it, even if you're not logged in at WP Launchify. Now, the reason this is relevant is this gives you as an administrator or a site owner, the ability to control the madness that's going on in the WordPress ecosystem. So even for free, I recommend that you use the tool that I provide you. Disable the activation wizards, hide all the admin notices, disable the license management plugin from some things, the plugin manager dependencies. Just check all those boxes. Optionally, you can use the top box if you want to hide LaunchKit. That would be good if you had like a client site and Word, Dr. Krieger. That would be good if you had a client site and you don't want them to see this navigation menu. Just click here, and you can always get back to it by using page equals WPLK, WP LaunchKit in the URL. But that's just a neat little freebie that I threw in there because a lot of you guys are actually doing this for clients. All right, next, I'm going to use the installer. You are going to use your WP Launchify credentials. So if you have a free or paid account with WP Launchify, use that here, and that will unlock through the very same credentials of your membership with WP Launchify, your installer on an unlimited number of sites. Super easy. No need for copying and pasting all these obtuse serial numbers and all this nonsense. I mean, I know it got us to the party, but no longer. I'm using a test account here just to demonstrate this. Now, you can use this as a tool for seeing what's available to upload and available for, I've already talked about this, so I won't go into that. But what you can do here is also either selectively download any plugins or install any plugins. I'm going to be very surgical here because the one thing I normally tell people is just install everything. And when you do that, like 8 seconds later, you've got everything you need ready to rock and roll. I'm going to do it surgically so I can demonstrate what I'm doing. I'm going to put in the Cadence theme. And for today, the recipe that I'm going to need, I'm going to use the Cadence tools, the Fluent CRM. There's going to be need for WooCommerce, launch flows, and maybe WP Fusion. So let's just do this selectively and surgically. I like this method too, because it allows you to make something and then you can save this using our packaging tool as a package that you can use again and again and again as your starting point. So let me just go down the list here. I am going to turn on Fluent CRM Pro. Notice I'm just clicking. It's not actually activating them here. It's just installing the plugin. Fluent SMTP, maybe I'll show you that if I have time. Fluent Forms and Fluent Forms Pro as one method. We're going to do Cadence Blocks Pro, Cadence Pro theme, Cadence starter templates, maybe. Launch flows, probably something. Our beta update. And then we're going to do the WooCommerce goodies. So let's do WooCommerce 9.0, WooCommerce, maybe subscriptions. We're not going to do the gateway, but I'll just pop it in there, customize. We don't need that plugin. So I'm just adding a few ingredients from the pantry here, and then WP Fusion. I like to use this other tool, which is Admin Menu Editor, because I'm old and I like to sort things alphabetically. All right, so now that I've installed that, let's just go ahead and activate some things, again, surgically. First thing I would do when I'm setting up my pattern here for myself or my client is I'm going to go to Admin Menu Editor Pro, go to settings, and all I do is this. I just sort it alphabetically. Notice I can also drag the dashboard above, get rid of these spacers or put the spacers all at the top. If you want to get rid of a spacer, just click the item you want to delete and delete it. Couldn't be easier. Watch what happens on the left side. When I sort it now, it applies, and now I can read stuff in alphabetical order. What I like to do with that, sometimes I'll put like the LaunchKit above, and I'll even in a minute, I'll put Fluent CRM above. You'll see that. But at least I got a good head start. Next, it doesn't matter what you activate next, but the bad boy of all of this is always going to be WooCommerce. Let's just do a quick Cadence block update while we're flying down the page. WooCommerce, now that we've got the plugin installed that's going to minimize all the activation wizards, it's not too unpleasant to turn on. So we just turn this on. I'm hoping this doesn't crash the site because it's a brand new 9.0.2. Crossing fingers. Whew. Okay. Thank you, WooCommerce. Let's turn on the Stripe Gateway just because. And by the way, I can bulk install these too, but when I'm doing this for the first time and I'm showing you, sometimes it's good to just be surgical here because every time these companies are updating their plugins, they're throwing another rabbit in the hat, and I don't oftentimes know what it is that they may be breaking. So instead of just like doing bulk setup and activation, I sometimes do it very surgically. I'm going to delete this. I don't need it, because in doing so, I'm able to see if anything breaks, right? So this is a good practice as well. Once I'm in the safe territory, it's a little easier, but let's just activate these. And I'm just, for now, I can just go down and activate all these. They won't break anything. Notice what's not happening. Do you notice that stuff isn't taking you away or popping up notices? Now, there are a few notices here. Watch what I do here. Click hide notices at the top. Ta-da. So now I can just go on, do my thing, because I'm pretty experienced. I can deal with like not having to be taken away every single time I activate a plugin to a separate activation wizard, or to be put through a lock me in so I can't get out process like a setup manager. Because I've done this about 250,000 times, and I'm sure you guys have done it a few times as well. So why should I be treated like a child by either the core of WordPress or by these plugins who think they know what I want to do with their stuff? The benefit of open source. Preach. Open source is open source, which means they think I'm a moron in some cases and need to spoon feed me stuff. And I say, I can counter you with I'm not a moron, and I can build software that for myself and other really smart entrepreneurs gives you an experience in the plugin manager that allows me to manage my plugins rather than doing what you think I should be doing, which is seeing all your upsells and your downsells and your advice and your blah, blah, blah. And I know I sound like I'm a little bit of a lunatic ranting, but WordPress is in a like end stage capitalism drive. We got 46% of the market roughly. We're looking for the other 44%. There are a few actors, bad or otherwise, who think they know better for everybody, who are trying to essentially create a platform that upsells and downsells only their stuff. And I say bunk on that. So now I've activated everything. The plugin manager is now an experience that's worthy of anybody who wants to do this. I would typically at this point save this, and I'm just going to show you this by using another tool, which is called the Prime Mover. And I want to show you this just because this is a great opportunity for any of you guys. Dr. Krieger has a point I'm going to address in a second. This is a great point for any of you guys who want to make your own stuff and save it as a package. Okay, I've showed this before, but you use the Prime Mover plugin, which, by the way, you can also install just using here. Install Prime Mover. That would be awesome. I have set it up, by the way, so it bypasses, watch this, bypass, bye-bye Freemius. It doesn't prevent you from using Freemius. It's just bye-bye disrespecting my intelligence and ability to not have to go through your extra step. So now I could go and create a package of what I just set up. And I can call it anything I want. This isn't part of your process today, but I just want you to understand, do this. I would just say export database only, single site, because this is the database info, because you already have the plugins from the LaunchKit that will allow this setup to be your starting point. And you can save this, sell this, share this, do whatever, so that you can next time just use the package manager to install it. So you would go over here, and out of the box, we give you some packages like package 1, package 2. You just click and upload your own, or you could use the URL of wherever you've stored your own package. Dr. Krieger says, perhaps it's time for a plugin called Plugin Control. Yeah, there is. It's called the free LaunchKit. And I want you guys to understand this. If you go to wordpress.org, plugins, LaunchKit, when I do my update, this version 1.0 will be 2.0, and it's going to be exactly what you've got here, which has those free tools. So high five, Dr. Krieger. That's exactly what it is, because the tools in the front of this are for everybody to use for free. The software bundle subscription, that's an option, but we have lots of packages that are free. Like, for example, there's something I'm launching this weekend where if you just go ahead and use hosting with one of the partners, you can get the bundle for free. Lots of ways to do things. All right. Now that we've got this, the meat and potatoes of today, we look at our installed plugins, and we really want to talk about those 3 relationships. Exactly. LaunchKit is free. The plugin is free. The new plugin is free. And this is an important point. The service of LaunchKit, the paid repository and all the other stuff is still, that is not free. But the tools that you just saw are free to everybody. That is how I've refactored version 2 to make a nice value proposition. And it will have options in there with free bundles that people can start out with, just like I showed you, that don't require them to do the steps that I just took. So it should be a lot of fun. Okay, I need to do one thing. I'm going to grab my ice. Sorry, gang. The downside of being me is I'm a bird with a broken back. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is let's talk about that first one. Fluent Forms provides the means for onboarding somebody for free and making them into a user. And so the way I would do that, and this is compared with the transactional method, is we're going to go over here and one more time, we're going to, now that we've installed everything, let's go to settings and resort this one more time. And I'll put my spacers up that way because that way I can more easily find stuff. Okay, number one, Fluent Forms. Let's go over and look at what we've got. Out of the box, we've got various things that are really nice starting points, but we'll just do this one from scratch. All we really need in order to register and log in a user is their first name and an email. You can get away with only an email, but it's nice to have a person's first name. So like in my emails to you, hi, Susie, hi, Carrie, hi, Spence, hi, Anne. So let's just do new blank form. I'm not going to do any styling stuff today. What we're going to do is we're going to add the name fields and we're going to add the email. And I personally like to put the email first when I'm doing a checkout. So you can choose to do this way. If you don't want to take both names, you can just simply click on here and then you uncheck last name. Okay. So stylistically, if you want to do it this way, you can also add an additional cool field here called container. And you could do like a 2-column. And what that allows you to do is now you can grab and drag the email and the name form and put them in place without too much effort. I'm not a big fan of labels, so I'm going to show you how I get rid of those too. Just go on the name fields, hide the label. I don't think you need to say it twice. It seems a little redundant. If you're going to use this cool option for a landing page, add an HTML above and then put something in here that makes sense so that it will go along with the landing page. Register now. It's free. Okay, and I can make that into a certain H tag, so maybe an H1. All right. I also want to change the button. Now, the button, if you want to use a custom button, there's a input field here called custom button, which I think is really useful because it lets you stylize. Put that at the bottom. It will get rid of the default one. Okay, and now I like to do things, for example, like let's change this to register now. So what have I done so far? I've created a very basic form that could have its own landing page, which I'm going to show you in a second, that can be used by anybody, anywhere with one link. And you can use that link on any of your pages or your YouTube or send it in an email. Now let's do the next step. We need to make sure that this allows somebody to register. How do we do that? We go to settings and integrations, and we'll start with configure integration. Here, we want to go under integrations and we want to add a new one. It's not available yet. So we have to go and set it up under integrations. We have to check the little flip lever for the user registration or update. And I also want to suggest to you that this is a good time for me to pause for a second. And we want to set up the CRM and maybe WP Fusion. So mentally pause right now. We'll come back to forms in a second. Let's go ahead and set up the CRM. Fluent CRM is easy to set up. We just need a main list as well as the name of the information for the business. So in this case, let's do the wizard real quick. And we'll call this, LaunchKit Club. We'll do the logo and stuff another time. And here we need at least one list. I only suggest you call this main list. Don't need multiple lists, because this is kind of like if you had a ballroom and everybody was coming to have a convention. It's better to have one room and everybody has tags and go, oh, there's Spence. Look, he's got these tags, than to have him in a separate ballroom. The only time that you need a separate list would be if your businesses are coming from multiple places and those clients or customers will never mix. I don't understand that question, Dr. Krieger. Could you elaborate? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. So ask me it again and I'll come back to it. I'm going to give a couple tags. Let's call this one free registration form from form. And another one will be free registration from product. And I'll add one more, paid registration from product. I would not use these names, but I'm going to give those tags based upon what we're going to do next. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure the question you're asking. So wait till we go back and you'll see what I mean. But there's an integration called user registration that works with Fluent Forms. That's how we do the register and login for free part. So I'll show you and then you can tell me if it looks familiar. You don't need anything else here, so we complete it. Okay, so now that we've got Fluent CRM basically set up, let's do the last step. Let's connect WP Fusion to that, because we may actually want to do something with WP Fusion in terms of the sales and the protection of content. So we're going to go to Settings, WP Fusion, and this takes 2 seconds. We're just going to choose Fluent CRM, this site, and connect. Notice you don't need to add license keys even with WP Fusion. All the software works. You don't need license keys. This is an important point because I get asked all the time. One of the reasons that I'm hiding all these notices is to keep from freaking people out about all the various attempts down the road to continue asking people to give license keys. Don't need it. Let's now go back to Fluent Forms and we'll go to our blank form. And this is a good time for us to rename this. Just click on the pencil and call register for free. Call it whatever you want. Doesn't make a difference. Nobody will see that. Let's go and save that and then continue where we were on the integrations, because now we're going to have 2 new options. We're going to have the integration, configure integration. We're going to have the user registration integration, the Fluent CRM, and WP Fusion. In this case, if we use the user registration, it will automatically add them to the CRM as long as our settings are set up. So let's make sure we've got that set up properly. And we do that here in Fluent CRM by going ahead and making sure that it's adding new WordPress users. General settings allows us to enable the sync between user data and CRM data. I don't think I want to delete them from my CRM if I delete them from WordPress. That's for you to decide. I wouldn't do that. Enable create new contacts in Fluent CRM when the user registers. Yes. That way I don't have to keep doing feeds. And I can assign a tag or not, but I don't ever assign a tag just because I've put them inside the main list. I just let them be in the list, and then the tags will come from whatever thing they did at that time. All right. The rest of this is up to you, but you could, for example, fill out WooCommerce checkout field data if you wanted with current contact data. That's enough. Okay. Now we're going to go back. Sorry, I took you back and forth. We're going to go back to that form, Fluent Forms. Dr. Krieger, you're probably right, but they are changing the interface quite a bit. So this is the latest version. This is what it is called now. Thank you for that. Okay, so settings. And we're going to go back where we were. When somebody registers, you can either leave them on the same page and show them a message, take them to a page on the site, or take them to a custom URL. We are going to take them to a page, and it's going to be the My Account page of WooCommerce, because that is where we can customize the dashboard. And this gives us a singular login, logout, registration, lost password. It is the lobby of your health club that you can fully customize through a number of different tools, including the customer dashboards tool that I provide as part of the LaunchKit or launch flows. Okay. So you can do double opt-in if you want, but it's not necessary here, in my opinion, because we can filter these people after the fact. Let's get them in there with the least amount of fluff possible. So we're going to save settings. Okay, now we've got that. I was telling you about this landing page. This is super cool. I love this. I use this myself. This is an option to embedding stuff. But because it's so simple to do, I can use the link for this anywhere. I highly encourage you to use this. And it also gives you some really simple ways to just customize it, right? You know, you can do the color scheme and whatever else you want to do, super simple without having to do a lot of fluff, right? So outer shadow, color scheme, inner shadow, etc., etc., etc. Right? If I'm not a fan of the blue, I can go to more of an orange or red or whatever you want to do. Okay. All these other custom settings, not super important because the mechanics of this are what's important. Let's give it a try. The neat thing about this is notice when I click here, it takes me to a special link. I can use a tool inside of LaunchKit that is called Link Whale that will make this even more custom. But if you just use it out of the box, it allows you to use this link anywhere, like I said, in a YouTube video, in a Twitter comment. And when somebody uses this, three things are going to happen. But wait, before we do that, we have to finish. Three things are going to happen. They're going to be registered, logged in, added to the CRM, and there's going to be an entry of what they've done. They will then be taken to the My Account page as well. Let's do the thing that was really important about what are the things that are going to happen as far as the registration, right? So we got to go back over here to configure integrations, and we got to turn on that new user registration. And here we need to just map the fields that we've got. So the email to email, the username, I'm going to use email. That is the way I prefer to do it because that is something that cannot be spoofed or faked or changed or anything else. There's reasons behind that. We're going to use the first name here. We don't really have a last name because we didn't take it yet. And the password will be left blank so that it's auto-generated. Here, we must check this box, allow the user login after registration. That will allow him to be logged in and taken to the My Account page, which will make things awesome. And it can trigger the default WordPress welcome email if you want, because that will allow them to see, oh, I can click and go, you know, back to the site and change what I want. If you don't want to do that, you can instead send a Fluent CRM email as part of an automation instead. This is an option, but it's a neat little trick that saves you steps. Okay. I can give them tags and other things at the time that they are added to the CRM. So if I wanted to, I could also, once they register, give them a tag that says they came through this process. Well, Dr. Krieger, you bring up a good point. So if you have a site and you want to have a good user experience, of course you want to embed it because, like, let's be honest, look at spencerforman.com or any of my sites. I've done the very same thing here. This one doesn't register and log you in, but it looks part of my site. However, I want to show you this 1wd.tv, have I helped, which you yourself have used. This is something I share when I want to instantly give somebody a way to give me an opinion of my services, which is then turned immediately through an automated process into one of these cute little thingies. I think we've got a picture of you in here somewhere probably. So I have thousands of these because I made it simple to have a link. And guess what that link does? No matter where I use it, that link will just trigger papa anywhere this pop-up form, this landing page, which is agnostic to taking them back to my site. So there are good uses for both cases. And I just wanted to show you guys. Maybe I don't want them to go back to my page, but I do want them to register and log in because they're in a special partnership, you know, webinar with me or something like that. All right. Good point, though. I appreciate that question. So now I've got it set up. It's good to go. Let's give it a try. I'm going to go, this is where it always gets me. I'm going to go incognito. Wish there was a better way to do this, but I'm going to have to do new incognito window. And I'm going to share the incognito window. Slightly awkward, but I think this will work. Let's make sure this is the right one. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's do tom@jones.com. 3 things should happen. Tom should be registered, logged in. 2, taken to my account. 3, he should end up in the CRM and also a form entry for him. Holding my breath. Oh, ta-da. We're having a good day so far. All right. Now that I've got that, let me unshare this screen. Sorry for the extra steps. And I'm going to go ahead and share back the logged in state of affairs. And I'm nervous because I see that I was taken to this screen, but I may have accidentally used the wrong form. So if I have to do that again, I did this last week and I promised myself I wouldn't do it. Let's see if there was an entry here from Tom, because if it was me that I just did that thing, the entry won't show up because I'm the administrator. So let's just see if it worked. It did work. Okay. I don't know if you can see this because I'm not sharing it. It'd be nice if I shared it to you. So here, what I did is I went to Fluent Forms, first of all, entries, to just see what happened. And let me zoom up on this bad boy. Man, oh man, hard to see on a small screen. So you see I've got one entry, and in that entry, thankfully, I did use the right form. And we could see that I've got a submission from Tom at Jones. Okay. Now, let's look at the CRM because that's more important. Fluent CRM is going to have at least one contact in there now. Which, this is where it did not work. So I made one boo-boo. I did not activate that integration, and I apologize. I did this last week, and I promised I wouldn't. Remember when I said the integration for Fluent CRM? I need to enable that, and I did not do that. So please amend that to your logic here. If I go back to that form, I did the user registration, but I forgot to, in all my yapping, to also do the Fluent CRM part. So configure integration. I needed to add this. Question, some people say, should I also do the WP Fusion integration? You do not need that if you're already doing Fluent CRM for this type of a process. So I'm just going to map this the same way I did the other one. I'll map the email, first name. Okay, all good there. This is where I could add a tag. So free registration from form. And then the rest of this, you can have options whether or not you want to add somebody if they've been in there before. You can remove tags. There's lots of cool stuff. Double opt-in. I'm just going to allow this to go ahead. And what I'm going to do is, to save time, I'm going to go over to settings. I'm going to get that landing page. I'm just going to do this myself real quick on another page, and I'll make it Tom's brother, Davey. So David Jones. David@jones.com. Okay. Now that I've done that, let's go and look at the forms and see if there's an entry for David. We see here there's a second entry. David at Jones. Now with the Fluent CRM, we should be okay. We have the active contact, which is now David at Jones. And this is where I was saying this is super cool because he was registered, he was logged in, he was taken into my account area. We now have him as a lead. Remember, he hasn't bought anything yet, so he's not yet like a customer. He's on the main list. He's got the tag, free registration. We can also see the form submission that got him here if we need to, which is super cool in the future. Not necessary right now, but it gives us all the same data so that we don't have to like look around a million different places. All right, so that's number one. Number two is, now that we've got somebody who's like free form, well, actually this is three. First was register and only go to the CRM. So we don't do the integration with the option. Number two was register, log in as a user. And when that person is, by the way, registered, logged in as a user, they will get the emails that they will get from WooCommerce, or we can trigger an automation. So let's just do that before we go on to step 3. So if you want to do, post registration welcome, you can trigger it on them added to the CRM list, or because they bought a WooCommerce product or something else. Typically, I would just use a tag, which is a very specific method of doing this. So a tag is kind of universal, and that way all my automations can be similar. So I would choose the tag free registration from form, save settings, and then I would do whatever I want. Maybe I'd wait a day, or I could do it right away. And then I would do a custom email. And I'm not going to do that here because I've done full, office hours on that. I'll just save this the moment. It's not live, but this is what that automation might look like. Okay. Next, let's go to products. With WooCommerce, we want to set up launch flows, and it's very fast for the options you need. Launch flows allows this experience where somebody's taken right to a checkout, but there's other features in there as well. What I do to set this up is I'll typically just force a few things that allow us to show what we want to show. And I've done this in other videos, so I'm not going to worry about this too much. Use email for username, and that's enough. Okay. So for this, we just need a basic product, and we can customize this checkout all we want, but just to show you what I do is I go to the checkout page that's already installed by default with WooCommerce, and I just remove the block, because launch flows by itself gives us more control over what we want to do. So if you've got this set up from scratch, just remove the checkout block and then go to the page option and turn on launch flows, add checkout to this post. That will put in all the dynamic information that your checkout page needs. And you can stylize it as you wish. For example, you can change the header and remove the title. You can make it full width or boxed. I don't really care. The idea is, though, this is just going to give you a default checkout page with all the extra fields and goodies. Now, one of the neat things about this is that you can have a free product and make it an instant registration product. And that's one of the things that Launch Flows does really, really well here, to allow an alternative to using all the Fluent Forms stuff. So for that, we're going to go over here to products, add new. And as simple as this, to make an instant registration product, we're going to do instant registration free. We're going to use a simple product, virtual, downloadable, make the price 0. Click on launch flows, choose checkout as the place somebody goes, because they're going to have to literally go through that step. And then you can take them where you want. In this case, let's take them to my account. Ta-da. We're going to go ahead and instant clean sales page if we want to make this look like whatever we want. But even better, instant registration. That will get rid of everything at checkout that we don't need them to see. Okay. Now for WP Fusion, let's apply the tag when they go through this of free registration from product. And that's basically it, with the exception of, obviously, you might want to put something in there for a product image. You can do it locally or remotely. Pexels allows you, with this neat setup, to just add an image in, part of Cadence, set the product image, and I'm basically done. Now, this is cool because you can either take somebody to this page. This is Dr. Krieger's question. You either can look at the page, or you can take the Launch Flows direct checkout link and use that anywhere. So for example, if I'm on Twitter, YouTube, blah, 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 this will take that product, send them right to checkout. Don't even have to mess around with anything, okay? But if you wanted to, you could alternatively show them a customized registration page where we show them all the cool stuff that they need to do here. And I don't want to make this part of the conversation, but if I just went to Launch Flows and said blank template, and then I use this incredibly awesome Cadence capability from the design library, I could put anything I want in here, just that looks good, like any hero or something else, right? So let's put that in, okay? And all I do is I take the very same direct to checkout link and apply it to that button. Ta-da, I've got now a custom instant registration page that looks great, feels great, but it's really a product. So let's just say register now. It's free. and I add the link that I just took from the product page, this here. Remember, I just took the direct checkout link. I just copied that and pasted it as the link here. And what I would probably do in this case is I would switch the layout to full and get rid of the header, the footer, and I would unbox it and disable the spacing. So now this is going to look great, but it will serve this purpose. Hold on, let me save it first. There we go. It'll look great, feel great. I could even get rid of the header, just turning off the header. But this does the same thing. It's going to send that thing so they can register. Now, when they register, this is cool because now they're going to get an actual product. And that is the same result. They'll be registered, logged in, but getting the product means that they will be put into the WooCommerce ecosystem as a customer. So this is kind of like what I was saying at the beginning, the difference between a cold lead and a warm prospect. This is a really good way to do a warm prospect. And here's the best part. You can save this whole thing as a pattern, you know, my warm prospect pattern. I'm going to put this under sales funnels, and you can sync it or not so that you can use it again. Ta-da! I've now created something I can save and share and sell and use again and again as a way to just immediately get somebody into my system. Let's try this again, where I'm going to take this open incognito, and then I'm going to share the incognito screen with you guys. I'm pretty efficient now at doing this, so it seems like I'm going to be okay. Okay, so now I've added this. Now let's see what happens. Register now, it's free. Susie Smith, susie@smith.com. I don't need the phone number. That can be hidden if you wish. Place order. You can change the word, by the way, place order to register now. It's free. You can also hide that thing that says checkout. Now, a couple things happen here. Notice it took me to the My Account page, but I forgot to set up one thing. So I'm going to take you back. The one thing I want to set up is the way for WooCommerce to immediately register and log people in. I should have done that first. I apologize. I was going so fast and so well. Let me take you and show you those settings, and then we'll do it one more time. Okay. So if I go back to my actual screen, in WooCommerce, there is a setting here that's normally set up by default when you have one of our pre-made packages. Under Accounts and Privacy, you want to set it up like this. Uncheck the first box, check the second box, so it's blank, checked, checked, blank, check, checked. And these are in our documentation for launch flows, so it's not like I'm doing it fast to make you have to go back and pause the video. This means nobody can do a guest checkout. Let's try one more time. We're going to close this thing. We're going to try one more time as a free registration so we can get Susie's sister in there. So let's go to all products. We can actually use this product here, but I want to actually get the direct to checkout link. So let's refresh the page. Okay, so let's take this. I'm going to stop this screen. I'm going to go present incognito. And there we go. All right, so let's do it now with Susie's sister, Tracy. This will register and log her in now, unlike before, because now I've enabled that as the option. Ta-da! Super fast. Awesome. Let's look and see what it did to the back end for you as the administrator or your business owner. Okay. So if we go back in the back end and we look in the CRM and so forth, we're going to find every interesting thing we need. Let's start with the CRM Contacts. Here's what's going to be cool about this was I was mentioning Tracy is now like a subscriber, but she's on the main list, but she's also got a purchase history here, you see? So one of the things that's neat is there are many things that are in the WooCommerce ecosystem that she can participate in now because she's got an order. Even though we have the tools that hide the order and don't send out the default email to her about a free order, It's just a slightly different way of accomplishing the same thing. I can't believe I'm doing so well on time, but since I am, now let's do choice 3, and we're going to take the very same thing, the product, and we're going to make a paid registration login that accomplishes the same thing, right? Adding to the CRM. So all we need to do here is duplicate this first product for expediency. We click duplicate. Do you see how amazingly fast and simple this system can be? I just built an entire sales funnel with 3 different options just by one metaphor. Like, the tools are so much easier this way. And notice I don't have 5,000 setups and everything else. And by the way, I can immediately test the SMTP because I've got the Fluent SMTP plugin installed where I can catch the emails if I want. I can get this whole business up and running in under an hour with or without Spence's help. Spence's help just makes it faster. Right? Okay, free registration, paid. Okay, here we're going to just change the value from that to I need $100. No big deal. I can very quickly change the look, feel, and the design if I wanted with Cadence, because this just makes everything easy, right? So if I want to change the background, just delete that and let's add in a new image that I'll do another pixel kind of thing. Let's do landscape. Whatever. Oh, I like that. That's very Windowsy. And I'm not trying to do design tutorial here, but ta-da. All right, great. Now, buy now. It's $100. It's only $100. Okay, so new product, new link. We want to disable that launch flows free registration or in-store registration because it's no longer that anymore. We probably don't need to take all of this information from somebody that has to do with like address and all the rest. So I'm going to do one other thing here. I'm going to go on the back end and I'm going to turn on under WooCommerce settings, the checkout options, right? So looks like the plugin's not turned on. So let's just go over to plugins. We're going to use the WooCommerce Checkout Manager to disable all the fields except for first name, last name, email. Okay, so it's not there. So this is where I'm going to use LaunchKit because I don't have to go anywhere else to get the ingredients. I'm just going to mosey on over to the fridge. If I'm logged out, I just log quickly back in with my credentials that are saved there. And I'm going to need the WooCommerce Checkout Field Manager. That is the little ingredients that I need to make this remove all those extra fields. Now that it's installed, I'll enable it. So I go to plugins. Again, because LaunchKit will not enable stuff for you because maybe you don't want that to happen. Let's just enable it or activate it. Sorry. I'm so proud of myself because we're going to land right on time with all this accomplished today. So now I have a new thing here called checkout. So what I like to do is I like to use a few of these options, right? So remove order notes, yes, because those are just ridiculous, even if I'm not customizing the checkout. Second, I go to billing, and here's where I'm going to just hide all of the stuff disabled that I don't need. But I'm going to start by dragging the email to the top because email needs to be the first thing you get in WooCommerce. That's how you can essentially do the abandoned cart or the follow-up emails because the first thing you got from them was their email. I also use the right-hand side thing here, and I may have to save before I move on to that, to slide these sliders over on the right side so that I'm not showing billing, city, state, all these other things that are irrelevant, even the phone number. I don't need it. I just need their first name and their email. But in this case, I'll take their last name because it's a free shot at the apple. I can also decide what's required or not, but I'm just going to make all of these required. So if that looks good, let's rock. Let's roll. I'm going to my product, which is now my paid product, $100. I'm changing the WP Fusion tag from free registration product to paid. I'm going to save this, update it. I'm going to change that thumbnail, by the way, of the product just so that it's consistent in the checkout. I'll just use the Windowsy thing. So people will see a consistent kind of like, I click this page and then I see that in the checkout. All right, let's do this. I'm going to close a few windows and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this product, same idea. If I wanted to, I could just take the actual product using the direct to checkout link and use that. Or I can go, if you can see here, I can look at the product page, buy now. Either way is going to work. Let's go incognito. Let me remove this and I'm going to add that. Okay, now I'm incognito. And I'm going to add that to the stage. Okay, let's put in a couple things. Let's go to the shop. Even though we don't need to list these, we can see the actual demonstration products. Let's just look at it. If somebody did go to your, here's your register for $100 thing, cool. This would register them, log them in, do a transaction, charge their credit card, but we've got a test credit card that we could set up here. I'm not going to bother with that right now, and log them in. I'm debating. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, let's set this up so we can go full month. I'm going to give you guys the full experience. So let me actually do that. Let me just show you how easy it is to set up. If you have a Stripe account, it's just 2 seconds anyway. So I'm going to do it this way. Might as well give you the full Monty experience, right? You can also use a plugin, which is Test Checkout, or you can use Cash, but you have to have something set up for them to pay. Okay, let's just use cash on delivery here. I guess it's just as easy. I was going to show you the Stripe gateway is super easy. So just in case you're curious, you can either connect it to an account. Like I have a test site set up with Stripe called Help with WP Launchify. I use this for all my clients. And all I need to do is connect to Stripe once. It's going to take me to a thing, and then it's going to ask me for more nonsense. And I'm going to use this testing here, and I'm going to connect this, but then I'm going to say bye-bye Stripe, because I'm really going to return to WooCommerce. I don't actually want to finish like taking money. I just want to test this. Okay, so it's really simple to do this. You can manually edit the keys, or you can use another plugin that I also advise called Test Checkout. But this is enough to get it connected so we can actually complete the transaction. Returning, hopefully, to WooCommerce. Come on, kids. Come on, Stripe. You can do it. Well, let me click this because I know I normally got to get to the bank page. Maybe it's not happy with that. Hold on. Okay, it returned me. So we're going to go into test mode. All right, and notice I could edit the keys if I wanted to, and I can do all kinds of other cool stuff here. One of the things that's neat is, let's save that, by the way. You can also just go ahead and do other payment methods. I'm not going to get into that with this today, but look, Klarna, Alipay, Bank, blah, blah, blah. You can also do Apple Pay, Google, link with Stripe. So I don't confuse things. I'm going to turn those off, but this is just that simple. Okay, now I'm going to double check that my payment stuff is set up. So under advanced, I want to make sure the checkout page is there, right? My account page is there. I've got everything I need. Let's go back to what we were about to do with this person buying, and then we'll wrap this up with a summary, okay? So let's do add again, share screen. It's actually not been too bad. And I'll put that in. Okay, now I am back where this should work just fine. Register now. It's only $100. Takes them to the checkout page where we'll be presented. We're just, ignore that duplicate that I had in the cart. Okay, I'm going to do Keith@moon.com. Sorry, Keith. I'm going to pay $100. If I wanted, I could get 2 of these. There's all kinds of things we could customize here. We could change the button. Don't worry about that. Point is, registered, logged in, my account area, gets added to the CRM, gets the tag, gets receipt, gets everything for the order. You get the money. Everybody wins. Ta-da, right? It's going to be awesome. Now, one thing we have to check. No available payment methods. I have to enable that. I'm just going to go back to where I was because when I set that thing up, I needed to flip one more switch, which said, make this active. So sorry about that, kids, but I'm going to enable that. I'm going to do that without taking you over there, just if that's okay. Give me one lick. I was doing so well today, I thought I was going to just win the race because I didn't have to actually stop and do anything that was weird, but I'm just going to finish this up. Hang in there. Okay. I'm manually pasting my key back in just because it said it wasn't happy with me. I know you cannot see this. It's top secret. I'm testing the connection and to see if it's happy. Seems happier now. All right, let's try it again. I'm going to refresh this because maybe at the time that I did the product, it was not super thrilled with me. So I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to grab the product. I did pretty well. I'm not too unhappy about that. Okay. Considering this was, I give myself the benefit of the doubt. Considering this was literally live without a net, I just set up this entire thing in the course of yipping and yapping and talking about it. I'm not too unhappy. Oh, I see the problem. The product itself, I need to uncheck that instant registration again. My apologies. All right, I'm gonna give it one more try. Copy, and I'm actually gonna, just for safety's sake, I'm gonna make a new incognito window. And share that with you guys. I've shown this about 5,000 times elsewhere, so I'm not terribly worried. Make sure I get the right screen. You've seen this work a million times before, so this isn't new, but I just want to have a full Monty here today. What's interesting is it's still showing, and I'm not 100% sure why now. It's showing this checkout as an instant registration. So let me take you back to one thing because I don't want to leave you hanging. I'm going to take you back to the setup with me on this time. We'll see if we can diagnose what's wrong here. I think it's just a matter of I copied the original product and I have not changed one of the settings. So let's check my work. One of the things I do for that, again, I love working without a net here. I'm not embarrassed to say. The fact that I can actually show you this stuff live means it works. Let's go to our products and double check our settings because I'm sure I will find something very simple that was the reason for whatever. Okay. We want to check to make sure, number one, that we've got the product option set to a price. We do. Number two, Launch Flows has a location. We got it. Instant clean sales page. We got it. Tags applied. We got it. Update. We got it. Next, I want to double check real quick while I'm here that I've got WooCommerce set up properly, because if WooCommerce doesn't have the right stuff, especially with the payment gateway, it's just going to act like what's going on there, dude. So let's just go over here to settings. And I'm going to do a couple things. Payments. I'm going to, for the heck of it, add cash on delivery just as a backup. And I'm going to just make sure I turn off that other stuff that was getting on the screen, like that InstaPay or whatever that nonsense was, this link. I think that is maybe where my problems were. Okay. Now I've done that. I'm going to make sure that we just have the checkout page enabled, which we do. And then my account should be good. Let's go ahead and try and see what happens when I go here. It should show the normal checkout fields. And then I'm going to do one thing here, make my life easier. I'm going to do one last thing. The reason it isn't working, I have a suspicion, is my cache. Because I cloned this. So just to prove a point, I'm going to make this from scratch. When I duplicated this, well, actually, hold on. Let me just do it here. When you're using Rocket.net, it took a cache of this page. And I suspect because I cloned it, it's just taking that CSS settings. The CSS are what's hiding everything. Adam, you could not be more correct. So this is actually a good test for what you guys need to understand. I'm using this plugin called Clear Cache. This is an extension, Clear Cache extension. And in this case, the little doodad that's happening is CSS based because I wrote the LaunchKit plugin. This product that I copied from here has CSS that says hide everything except what you're supposed to see. So watch this. If I view this now that I've cleared my cache and cleared my browser cache with the tool, almost 100% this should be fine. Let's try it again. Click here, and I got to clear the cache on the checkout page, but let's also set that back to launch flows. I felt like today was my day. I was going to get 100% through without any Spence having to do one of these. Hold on 1 second. I guess that happens. Okay, so I'm going to clear the browser cache here. Let's see what happens. Clear. Let's add a product. I'm going to cross my fingers. It still worked. I'm not 100% sure why the display isn't working. So because I just cannot rest easy knowing I left you guys hanging, I'm going to do a fresh product just to prove my point. Okay, because this is super easy. It takes the same amount of time to copy as it does fresh. Okay, paid product for new user, make it $100. Virtual downloadable means there won't be any delay in the completion of the order. Launch flows, we're going to say checkout, just like the other one. And we're going to go to my account afterwards, like we've been doing. Easy. We're going to, in this case, we can customize it again with a blank template or just stay with the original template for expediency now, because you saw that. We're going to do instant clean sales page to clean stuff up. And then WP Fusion, we're going to go ahead and say paid registration from product. We will set the product image to the Windowsy thing. Publish. Let's see what happens here. Add to cart. Ta-da. Okay, I'm feeling good about myself again. So let's do the last thing incognito because I do want you guys to see what happens. Full Monty. We're going to switch one more time. I'm still pretty close to time, a couple minutes over. Thank you for you guys staying. I know there are a lot of people who do these pre-prepared things and everything always looks awesome, but that isn't realistic. And that's not what I would say you should learn how to do. You should learn how to deal with problems like an aircraft pilot. Fly the plane, always fly the plane. Here we go. Incognito, crossing fingers. Ta-da, now it comes out. We're gonna do John at bonham.com. Okay, John's going to register. We could use the Stripe keys. And you notice now those show up. So it really was a cache thing. I'm going to put in my test Stripe account info, which again makes this super duper easy because now you can have a situation where you can actually see the transactions. You can see everything about it because the keys are registered. All this stuff means that the person's full account experience is done in just a matter of minutes without you having to pretend or fake or anything else. And that allows you to test right before being turned to live. Everything's good. Okay, John is in. Final step, and then we're going to high five and all go out to breakfast together. Let's go over to this one. I'm feeling a little rock and rolly this morning. My back, maybe not, but me for sure. Okay, I'm going to go on the back end. Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. Fluent CRM. Let's see if John's in there. I'm feeling good about this. John, he's back. Notice, John is subscribed to the main list. He's got the paid registration for product. He has got a purchase history, which includes his order information, if you needed all that goodies, including the credit card that he used and so forth. Notice, we've got his lifetime value. He is now available to be automated. And the benefit of this is, as with any of these people, I can notice his role as a customer. If I want, I can turn him here from a leads also to whichever he wants to be, subscribed, not subscribed. I can change him from a lead to, if this is the point at which he becomes a customer, I can make it where that happens. All of these great things follow. Okay. Marie Kondo is happy. I am going to drink coffee, stretch my back, work on completing the LaunchKit version 2 plugin installer, but I hope it's becoming apparent, and I'm really excited about this because I've had so many of you guys who've been with me for a long time, and some of you have just come on. When you have the LaunchKit, when you have Spence curating all this stuff, we can do anything instantly. I mean, if you're not yapping, okay. When you create stuff and save stuff and you use the patterns, you could, for example, one last just, oh my God, let me show you this, is like, you can go ahead over and go to anything that you've saved or we've created for you. Like maybe I need to add that awesome price table. Okay, good. Now that you're using the kit for yourself or your clients, copy that price table. You go on over to a page, you paste it in, and you put in your own products. Like get free. Okay. And you just change this pricing table to free, et cetera, and you put the link of this, like I just showed you, the link to that instant direct checkout. Imagine IKEA. Imagine, like in my office, I've got that one IKEA thing here. Anywhere you go to IKEA, you can get something that works with your other IKEA. If you make, share, sell services, products, whatever. My friend Vince, who I believe is watching today, who I've known since I was born, amazing graphic artist. He has clients that have all these complicated businesses, but they have things like your client can become a customer of WP Launchify, where all the hosting, all the tool, everything else is delivered, managed with me as your concierge, white label or not, for as little as $47, hosted for starting at $60. Now, what does that mean? It means you have a client who wants to do modern email marketing. They don't have a good list. They don't know how to onboard users. They don't know how to sell stuff. You can make all of this as a service and charge your client whatever for things like, I'm going to put your images in these placeholders. I'm going to make these cool pages look awesome. But you don't have to do the mechanics. I give you the tools. I curate the tools. I give you the IKEA. You just buy a bunch of IKEA stuff like I used to when I was building luxury houses, and you install that into the houses. And you make it look good. You move it around. You paint it. You put some accessories on it. That's the modern business. And because I'm offering with WP Launchify, multi ways to make money, you can't lose. Here's the 3 ways you can make money with me. Number 1, unlimited use of the LaunchKit. Okay, $97. You can use this on unlimited sites. So you get all the software, about $4,000 of software. You get a demo sandbox site to use or not use, up to you. And you get unlimited emails. You can put this in on any of your client sites, use it as much as you want. Or you can sell your clients for $60, a site that I host and manage as if they were a $97 client, but you white label it and you mark it up to 97 or 147 or 197. Doesn't matter. You get $20 as well if you just sell the stuff. So in other words, they pay me 60 or 97. You have nothing to do and you still get $240 a year if they stick around. That's pretty freaking awesome. $240 is more than Rocket is offering on an affiliate network for just signing up for a blank site. But then you'd get them being treated like a concierge in my hotel with you being the intermediary. You finally can do something where you take the toolkits themselves and make services, make products that go with it. Like I was mentioning with my friend Vince. If I show you in this recipe kit and give you everything ready to go as a pattern, or if you see in the WP LaunchKit, WPLaunchKit.com documentation. Oh, come on, Spence, type properly. You could take any of the things that are pre-made ideas that have like simple recipes, WPLaunchKit.com documentation, that have recipes. Like I need to make a directory for my clients. Okay, take the recipe, take the toolkit. You tell your client, I'm going to charge you a setup fee. I'm going to charge you a graphics fee. Maybe I was discussing with Vince, maybe they just need a simple marketing automation for adding new customers through a coupon. Like somebody needs to get a coupon for an oil change, and you can present a system where the person gives the email and the first name, gets the coupon, and then keeps getting added to the list for future updates. You do the services once a month where you charge money for just updating the graphics. The client, the oil change company, is thrilled to death because for $97 a month or whatever, plus you charging maybe $200, $300 to do the graphics a month, that's less than hiring the Yellow Pages person to make ads in the newspaper and stuff like that. Okay. Very excited. Looking forward to more. Thank you guys for staying long. I'll see you next Friday if I don't see you inside sooner. Ciao.